Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be giving you my top 10 tips for surfing the Wave Bristol. My number one tip is that you arrive there early. I know that everyone says this, but it is so important in order to maximise your time at the Wave Bristol. You want to be arriving there at least 1 hour early. Any earlier than that, you're going to be in a rush. No one really likes to be in a rush, and it's going to set yourself up to have a bad time at the wave. If you can, try and extend the estimated car journey by about 30 minutes. If you get stuck in traffic, you're going to be late and you're just going to have a bad time, so you really want to get there early. It is a long walk there as well, so just be prepared for that. My second tip is that as soon as you pop up, you go into a cutback. I know that I'm not great at cutbacks, but this is definitely the right first turn to do. Lots of people start pumping down the line. It's a pretty slow moving wave, I'm not going to lie. It does really fade out very quickly, so you want to go straight into the cutback, wait a tiny bit, and then it will start to steepen up. There are two sections of the wave, and in these two sections you can do your turns and stuff, but you'll notice after that first section it's going to slow down again, and you want to go into another cutback and then wait for it to steepen up a bit, and you can go into your turns. Bear in mind that I only know this applies to the intermediate. Pretty sure the Waikiki as well, but it does also apply to the advanced. I don't know about the expert waves and the advanced plus. I'm pretty sure it does, but you might just have to look into that a little bit further. My third tip is that you don't overestimate yourself. I know that a lot of people overestimate themselves. When I went on the intermediate setting, I'm not gonna lie, there were people that should have definitely just stick to the beginner setting, maybe even the Waikiki, but so many people overestimate yourself. The consequences of overestimating yourself are far worse than the consequences of underestimating yourself. There were so many people, they didn't catch a single wave. They were kind of ruining the session for other people a little bit. I definitely caught a few less waves because of some people in my groups. So please do not overestimate yourself. If you don't think you're ready to go on the intermediate, go on the Waikiki. If you don't think you're ready to go on the advanced, go on the intermediate. Please don't overestimate yourself. My third tip is that you paddle. Even when you think you've caught the wave, do a few extra paddles, because so many people just thought they caught the wave and they didn't, and they missed a wave, and then they go into the second wave and then they do the same thing. You want to keep on paddling. It is obviously fresh water, it's not salt water. The density is a bit lower, and it does mean that you have to paddle a tiny bit more. Try to pay attention to the markers as well. These are really important in order to catch the maximum amount of waves you can. I know that some people find it a little bit stressful and a little bit confusing, but I didn't at all. It's fairly simple. The instructor will tell you what markers you need to do for your group, whether on a shortboard or a longboard. They can change a little bit, so just pay attention to what the briefing person will say. It's also bad for you too, because you're not going to catch as many waves, and that sucks. You know, you paid for that and you're not caught enough waves because you didn't paddle. Make sure you keep on paddling. My fifth tip is that you bring a more voluminous board than you usually surf with. Like I mentioned earlier, it is freshwater, it's not salt water, the density is lower. You will sink more than normal on your board in the freshwater than the saltwater. Try to bring a few extra litres of volume. If you're a decent surfer, I wouldn't normally go much below 30 litres, especially on your first time. It does sink a little bit more, so just be prepared for that. Bringing a more voluminous board is going to make it easier to paddle. The last thing you want to be doing is getting really tired, having to miss out a set. I know quite a few people often have to miss out a set. They're just so tired, they're definitely not going to catch the wave, and then they will go catch the next set. That's going to lower your wave count. No one wants that. If you can, try to bring a more voluminous board. If you have more than one board, bring the more voluminous board. You know, if you feel more comfortable on a short board, don't bring a long board, because you don't want to be learning how to longboard at the wave. It's not necessarily a very forgiving wave. It will throw you straight over if you're in the wrong place or you're not going to catch it. You need to be in the exact right place, and having a more voluminous board is seriously going to help you. Talking about boards, it brings me on to my sixth tip. Bring your own board. The last thing you want to do is to borrow one of their boards. It can take a while to get used to a different board, and you don't want to be doing this if it's your first time surfing maybe a less forgiving wave, so try to bring your own board. Unless you nosedive a lot, you should be absolutely fine. I know that a lot of people say they have a lot of boards. I don't really find it to be that way. They do have a ton of 10-foot foamies, and unless you're a bit of a beginner, I wouldn't go on a 10-foot foamy. They're massive and they're not that fun unless you do find it fun, I don't know, but not for me. Do bring your own board, as the board selection is fairly limited. My 7th tip is to prepare for both the long walk and the long paddle. It's about a 15-minute walk from the car park to the wave, which is quite long for a lot of people, so if you can, bring a skateboard or a scooter. Loads of people do this, you're not going to be the only one to do it. Also, make sure you prepare for the long paddle. Unless you're on a longboard, make sure you do have decent fitness before going to the wave. Try to warm up if you can, especially in the winter as the water is freezing. Yes, they do have a rip, which means that you're not going to be going through the breaking waves. It's a lot easier to the ocean. There's not really a rip where I surf. It's safe to get out, so it's nice that you don't have to go through the broken waves. Unless you are a longboarder or you're on their 10-foot foamy, then it's a long paddle. Make sure you have good fitness and be prepared for both the long walk and the long paddle. My 8th tip is that you make the most of your time at the wave. For a lot of people, it's a very long drive. It's also very expensive with the fuel nowadays, so do make the most of your time. You can watch the surf sessions before and after. I'd only really recommend doing it after, as it does take a lot of time at first. Unless you get there really early, just do it after, especially if it's like the expert or the advanced. It's pretty cool to watch someone who's a lot more experienced than you. You can even get some tips, I don't know, but that is a fairly useful thing to do. Try to make the most of the experience. You probably will remember it, and it's great to watch other surfers who may be a little bit better than you. It can really help you get some tips and stuff. Enjoy the time. For some people, they're only going to go once, so you may as well remember it. They do have a restaurant and a surf shop. Surf shop's really cool. I don't know about the restaurant because I haven't really eaten there before, but I would recommend that you do just take packed lunch. I don't expect they have too many things. However, don't rely on the restaurant, but it could be cool to get some food there. Also, the surf shop, it is really cool. Bring a bit of extra cash if you can. Just prepare. You might end up spending some money there, as there's lots of cool things to buy in the surf shop. My 9th tip is that you prepare for a different temperature to the ocean. In the winter, it gets really, really, really cold. I know a lot of people say they just didn't enjoy it because it is that cold. Make sure you're bringing gloves, boots, hoods, and a good wetsuit. Try to bring a 5'4" or above. I know a lot of people have like those crazy 7mm wetsuits. If you have one of those, bring that. You know, it does get really, really cold. In summer, if it is a heat wave, you can wear board shorts. I know a lot of people wear board shorts all summer, no matter what the temperature is. However, I did see some guys shivering. I think it is quite cold if you're wearing board shorts and it's not a heat wave. If it's 30 Celsius or above in the air, it might be a good idea to bring board shorts instead. My 10th tip is that you have fun and you try to not take things too seriously. I know that going to a wave pool for the first time is fairly intimidating. You might be used to sand, it's now concrete, and you might be used to a more relaxed lineup. It's fairly serious, no one really spoke in my group. You're going to set yourself up to have a bad session if you're taking things too seriously and you're just not having fun. Try to enjoy it, try to even lower your standards a little bit before going. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you could at least take one tip out of this video to have a better time at the wave. If you are interested in watching my surf sessions at the wave, I'll link them there or there. I don't know which one it is, sorry. Anyway, if you do want surfing content, I do try to post it as much as possible, so please do feel free to subscribe. And anyway, I'll catch you in the next video. My 8th tip is that, what was it again? My 9th tip is that you prepare for the different ocean. What? I just